Welcome to Spacewire. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more updates. In a historic decision, the Supreme Court has struck down the Trump-era tariffs imposed under Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act of 1962. The justices ruled 6-3 that the executive branch overstepped its authority, declaring the president's power to impose tariffs for national security is not unlimited. This ruling reasserts the separation of powers, sending shockwaves through Washington and the global economy. For years, businesses and foreign governments argued these tariffs were an abuse of presidential power, causing more economic harm than security benefit. The court's majority opinion, written by Chief Justice Roberts, established a stricter test for what counts as a true national security threat in trade. The case marks a turning point after years of legal battles. Plaintiffs argued that letting a president label any economic competition as a security threat would give the White House unchecked power over commerce. The court's decision rebalances power between Congress and the president, setting a precedent that will limit future executive actions on trade. Congress, the court affirmed, holds the primary authority to regulate commerce with foreign nations. The era of using national security as a blanket justification for broad economic measures may be over. This decision redraws the boundaries of executive authority in international trade. The implications are vast, touching every corner of the American and global economy. The Supreme Court has changed the rules of trade and the balance of power in Washington. To understand the impact of today's decision, we need to look at tariffs themselves. A tariff is a tax on imported goods, used to protect domestic industries or raise revenue. Donald Trump embraced tariffs as a central tool of his America First agenda, using Section 232 to justify sweeping new taxes on steel, aluminum, and more. The administration argued that reliance on foreign metals threatened national security, bypassing Congress to impose tariffs on allies and rivals alike. This marked a sharp break from decades of U.S. policy favoring lower trade barriers and global integration. Critics warned the tariffs would raise costs for American manufacturers and consumers, and spark retaliation from other countries. That's exactly what happened. Trade wars erupted, hurting U.S. exporters and farmers. The tariffs became a flashpoint, setting the stage for a major legal showdown. Today's Supreme Court ruling is the culmination of that battle. The era of tariffs as a presidential economic weapon has been fundamentally altered. The legal fight against the tariffs was led by a broad coalition: steel importers, manufacturers, and businesses large and small. They argued the administration's use of national security was far too broad, letting the president control trade without real limits. Their case, Congress, not the president, has the constitutional power to regulate foreign commerce. Lower courts initially sided with the government, citing decades of deference to presidential authority and national security, but the coalition persisted, appealing all the way to the Supreme Court. They warned that unchecked use of Section 232 threatened the balance of power and American democracy itself. The Supreme Court agreed to hear the case, recognizing the profound constitutional questions at stake. This set the stage for a historic confrontation over the meaning of the Constitution and the future of U.S. trade policy. The coalition's persistence brought the issue to the nation's highest court. When the Supreme Court heard the case, the justices pressed both sides on the limits of presidential power. The business coalition argued the administration's actions gave the president a blank check to reshape the economy. Justice Kagan questioned if any industry could be labeled a security threat, asking, "Is there any limit at all to this power?" The government's lawyer defended the tariffs as necessary but struggled to define clear boundaries. Chief Justice Roberts focused on Congress's constitutional role, asking, "Where do we draw the line?" The majority opinion established a new test. There must be a direct, credible link between the imported goods and national security, and any remedy must be narrowly tailored. The Trump tariffs failed both tests. Dissenting justices warned the court was overstepping, arguing national security decisions belong to the president. The 6-3 split revealed deep divisions over the balance of power. The court's decision decisively reined in executive authority on trade. The Supreme Court's decision split the nation. For businesses and industries hurt by the tariffs, it was a victory. Lower costs, fewer supply chain disruptions, and renewed global competitiveness. Farmers and exporters welcomed the ruling, hoping for restored access to international markets. Lawmakers who support free trade praised the decision as a return of power to Congress. Senate Majority Leader Schumer called it a crucial check on executive overreach. But opposition was fierce. Donald Trump condemned the ruling as a betrayal of American workers, warning it would flood the market with cheap imports. Labor unions and America First politicians echoed his concerns, calling the decision a blow to U.S. manufacturing. Senator J.D. Vance called it a gift to China and a slap in the face to working-class Americans. The ruling exposed deep divisions over trade, globalization, and the government's role in the economy. The debate now shifts from the courts back to Congress and the campaign trail. The Supreme Court's decision didn't end the fight, it just changed the battlefield. America's trade future is once again up for debate. The immediate effect: Section 232 tariffs are gone. Importers no longer face heavy taxes, and companies using steel and aluminum expect lower costs. Consumers could see lower prices, and businesses gain stability for long-term planning. Internationally, the decision is seen as an olive branch likely to repair strained alliances and encourage foreign investment. Retaliatory tariffs may be lifted, helping U.S. exporters, but challenges remain. The Biden administration must find new, legally sound ways to address unfair trade practices, especially with China. Congress faces pressure to reform trade laws and reclaim its constitutional role. The ruling signals a shift U.S. trade policy may become more deliberative, less subject to presidential whim. Lawmakers could rewrite Section 232, providing clearer guidelines and oversight. The Supreme Court has forced a new era of accountability in trade policy. America's approach to global commerce is being rewritten in real time. This Supreme Court decision is more than a verdict on tariffs, it's a landmark for American democracy. By reining in the executive, the court reaffirmed the separation of powers at the heart of the Constitution. The ruling is a check on presidential authority, ensuring major economic decisions face broader scrutiny. The case shows that even powerful government actions can be challenged and overturned. The judiciary's role as guardian of constitutional limits is clear. Going forward, national security can't be used as a catch-all for economic protectionism. Trade policy will require more cooperation between Congress and the President. The decision will shape U.S. trade and global relations for years to come. The Supreme Court has redrawn the lines of power, redefining how America engages with the world.